Hello, everybody. Going backwards, I go back forwards. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for tuning in to our YouTube live show that we do every Friday. I have here with me Mark Gilbert. How are you doing today, Mark?
Right, thanks.
You're coming through crystal clear. I hope I'm coming through crystal clear. I'm using a Samson XPD-1 headset. I brought all of my broadcast microphones to NAB New York. So let me know, guys, if you think hopefully the audio sounds good. What I want to do is I want to quickly start, like the way we start every show, by letting everyone know that we live stream every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 7 p.m. in the UK, where Mark is. Thanks for staying up late with us. We live stream every Friday, and every Friday we do donations to charity. So if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, you're actually adding additional dollars to our charitable donations that go to the CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocacy program that helps children in need who are kind of without families and are looking for adoptions. This is the show for last week's calendar. I apologize. Last month's calendar. This month we only have 3 live shows. We have last week we interviewed. I can't even remember what we did last week. This week we're with Mark doing the NDI.Cloud, and next week we are getting the CEO of vMix, Martin Sinclair, on the show. So speaking of Martin, he was one of the people we interviewed. I would like to show you guys some cool clips from New York City, downtown Manhattan, and I think it's going to be inspiring for the live streaming industry and market. So let's take a look at this. Starts off, I took a little video of Times Square down there in Manhattan, and you can every other advertisement was about live streaming. It was crazy. In fact, take a look at this next ad right here. Facebook Live. Street performance. Here, this is that curved LED screen at the NASDAQ Center. They're live broadcasting from Facebook. So anyone who said Facebook Live wasn't a big deal, go to Times Square. That's all I have to say. Here's my interview with Martin. I didn't include audio because I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through this. Martin has a new PC build that he's suggesting for dealers to build their own little live streaming systems. That's the T-Bar from X-Keys, which I actually left the show with, so I'll be using that moving forward. This is Rich Rubin from Tactical Fiber Systems. He has the new RoboCam fiber system that extends power, camera control, Ethernet, video, and audio up to 2,000 feet. You should have saw ESPN's face drop when they saw that. This company called Video Call Center is a really interesting company. They have a queuing system for video callers. So when video callers are coming from all over the world, whether they're on FaceTime or Skype or Google Hangouts, they take all of those video callers from mobile devices and they allow broadcasters to kind of have a queuing system and everything. Very cool. Got a chance to talk to Akamai. Akamai, as everyone knows, is like the CDN backbone for most of the professional broadcasters out there. Got a chance to talk to Abel Sin, really great, Abel Sinne. They were showing off VR and virtual reality, and they were using something called the Nokia Ozone, and that was really cool. Got a chance to talk to Haivision. Haivision actually beat out NewTek for the best encoder, which I thought was interesting. The best hardware encoder. That's the box there. It's like $7,000, so very high-end stuff. Varto Technologies is the elite partner, the elite NewTek partner, showing off the IP series of the NewTek boxes, which I was very excited to see. They have a 4-stripe control surface, which is this gigantic NewTek control surface here, which they had programmed for PTZ control on our PTZOptics cameras. So I thought that looked really beautiful. Skip ahead a little bit here, and you can see they had all the TriCaster minis and everything. It was a really fun show with a lot of people. Finally, talked to Stream Monkey, a nice little CDN out there with really good service. So that was just a little sneak peek. All of those videos are on our YouTube channel if you want to learn a little bit more. So we're ready for the lightning round. Are you ready, Mark?
Yes, go ahead.
Let's do it. Okay, Okay, Mark, we only have 60 seconds, so are you a coffee or a tea guy?
Raspberry tea.
Raspberry tea. Do you prefer talking or texting?
Well, I guess it depends who it is, but I quite like to talk. It's easier on the fingers.
And you got to save those fingers for programming.
Definitely.
Android or iPhone?
Well, I got both on my desk, but I guess I have an old iPhone as my main device.
Everyone on this show has said iPhone to that question. What is your favorite movie?
I guess it'd be something like Hitchcock Rear Window.
I've seen a lot of Hitchcocks, but I've never seen that one. I'll have to take a look at that. What is your favorite book?
Ooh, probably the Dhammapada, Assembled Wisdom of the Tao.
Wow. Again, I've never heard of that one, but it sounds great. If you could travel back in time to watch 24 hours of history unfold, when and where would you go?
I guess if it's a hypothetical question, I guess I would go back to the birth of the universe and watch the Big Bang.
That is a fun one. That is a really cool one. Someone told me I should answer that question, and I'm feeling like I'm more of like a Woodstock 1969 kind of guy.
You
I'd
could
love
travel
to.
back in time to watch 24 Hours of History. When and where would you go?
Yeah, I'm more of like a Woodstock guy. Like I'd like to go see, Hendrix, Janis Joplin, but I also like the new music too. I love music. So, as you may know, we've got 60 seconds to answer each one of these topic questions, and that should land us pretty close to our 20-minute timeline, and then we'll have a little bit of extra time on the post-show to answer questions. So let's start with our first topic. Who is Sienna? I'd never heard of you guys before. This is interesting.
Where have you
question.
been? So, well, Siena is actually a brand of Gallery, which is a company that's been around since 1991, creating kind of media production technology software for creative industries. And it was about 10 years ago, we launched Siena, which was it's an end-to-end broadcast media infrastructure for news and sports. It's kind of a mid and high-end product. People like the BBC and that kind of people are a typical customer. But as things have changed in industry and we're seeing the baseband business disappear, we've embraced focus on new technology as we always have done. So IP is really where we're looking to a future for that market now.
Wonderful. So I guess I haven't heard about it potentially because we're here in the States, you guys are in the UK, but it sounds like a really great.
Well, there's got a lot of Siena customers in the US, our biggest market, but it tends to be, it's the main infrastructure for live news and sports in, companies like the Associated Press and BBC and things like that.
Interesting. Okay. And so again, I like to just stay very high level here. You probably know this more than anybody. Can you just explain to us what is the NewTek NDI for those folks out there who just don't know?
Well, it's a way to get video from A to B over a network cable, and it's not so important that you can get it from A to B on a network cable. It's also about each end. It's about the way it plugs into software systems and hardware systems, and creating an easy way. It's like, imagine instead of me talking through my mouth, through my microphone, through the internet to you, to your ears, and into your head. Imagine I could just beam my brain straight into yours. That's what NDI is. Brain beam.
I like it. I really do like it. For those of you out there who are a little new, we got about 15 seconds left on this topic. It's called Network Device Interface. Andrew Cross is the main doctorate who's head of CTO of NewTek. And it was introduced in April at the NAB show this year, 2016. And it's in the hands of now over 1 million broadcast users. So that's why this is so important, I think, because for those 1 million users, explain to us how the NDI.Cloud is going to expand what they can do with it.
Well, NDI is what takes devices like TriCasters and vMix and other similar types of things, plus cameras and DDRs and so on, and gives them a kind of a way to get their video out there on a network cable. And it is a revolutionary thing within a local production network. But as soon as we saw NDI and what it could do within a local production network, it became obvious to me that there was going to be a demand to connect together different production networks in different locations. So, once you can see all your network video sources on your network, it's like the next logical step is, well, I want to see them on the network of our other department, the other side of the country. So NDI.Cloud basically allows you to bridge between NDI-based production networks across the public internet, so that something that you have in your studio in Philadelphia, I could pull it up on my TriCaster right here, and I could, your camera that you're feeding into whatever your device is there via NDI, I could actually see that same device right on my TriCaster here in London, and it would be just as if you were on the same local area network as me. But it opens up a whole range of new production workflows where everything is available to everybody across a wide area network.
Great. And the next agenda topic says, what is the latency? But I think I'd like to change that and just ask you about pricing and stuff like that. So it sounds amazing. What's the catch?
There is no catch. The catch is that we're probably not going to get rich off it, but it'll be useful for everybody to use in all kinds of different workflows. It's going to be pretty cheap. There's going to be a monthly subscription, which is not going to be expensive, probably less than you'd pay for a Wowzer media encoder or something. And the idea is to create new workflows that cross wide area networks. So one of our dreams would be to have, let's say, a sports broadcaster could go out into the field to cover some sports event with, 8 cameras, and they'd have something like a TriCaster in the truck and nothing else. And they wouldn't even have any people necessarily in the truck, and they'd backhaul all those signals over some kind of internet connection, and they use the facilities that they have in their central studio to do all the work that they normally do in the truck. That's one kind of application. And then there's tons of other things that you can do with, just like from you to me, we could be doing this with the NDI.Cloud. There's lots of different things you can do.
So I know it's really early days, but I know you've done some testing. Can you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned kind of like a best case scenario. Have you done any actual customer use cases at this point?
Yeah, well, we've done a lot of experimentation, and we've mostly been fairly ambitious with the tests. So we've done lots of tests, like, for example, Mumbai to New York and London to Singapore and things like that. And to answer your question about the latency, the answer is pretty low. So we're in under 1 second our objective, even for very long distances. We've seen some interesting applications, like, for example, we've got an advertising agency that has people editing, let's say, in New York, and they have a director of the advert in London, and they want to sit alongside the editor and kind of supervise the edit session. Now, for that, what they really need is a low latency, high quality video output from the edit system. So you take something like Adobe Premiere and you'd use the NDI output. So basically whatever was on the canvas of the Premiere comes out through NDI, hops across the internet, comes into a monitor, and the director in New York has got a full screen 1080, 1080 by 1920 by 1080 screen, great sound, low latency, and he's literally just working alongside the editor, supervising, just as he would do if he was sat next to him.
Very interesting. So, and let's just kind of dig deeper, because this integration project agenda topic here is just a very kind of broad, because I messed, what? No, I'm working. I always lose audio. Let's see here. So for the integration project, I answer that however you want. I don't know how.
Well, obviously, NDI.Cloud is NDI in, NDI out. And that's, as I said to you earlier, it's this standardization of something which has not previously been easy to define. So any NDI piece of software or NDI piece of hardware, not just one, but multiple devices on one network, are suddenly made available through this mechanism to another network and all the other devices on that network. So, integrating with devices like TriCasters and vMix and basically anything else that uses NDI. And as we know, there's dozens and dozens of products now that use NDI and more every day. And it's become a real standard for getting video into and out of software and hardware. So anything that can support NDI in or out can do the same thing, but with a remote target at the other end.
Okay, and then the PTZOptics integration, for that agenda topic, sorry for going so off topic here, but let's just kind of break this down because I'm still kind of vaguely trying to understand what this NDI.Cloud thing is. So you basically pay a monthly subscription, you log in, and then what is it, like your computer logs in and then everything on that network now can talk to the other network?
So, I mean, you had a slide up before the show started, which showed you kind of a typical NDI.Cloud network. Effectively, it's all about joining together different locations. So, you've got a local area network where you are now, which has probably got cameras and some kind of switcher and stuff like that, and maybe monitors and so on. I got the same right here. And the question being is, why can't my devices talk to your devices? And the answer is with NDI.Cloud, they could. So what you do is somewhere on each network, you run the thing that's actually labeled NDI Relay on that diagram, or we call it the NDI Node Gateway. It's like a gateway software. And what it does is it essentially advertises all of your sources to your partners, and then your partner's gateway picks them up, and it does the same thing in reverse. So all the NDI sources on your network can be seen by the NDI devices on the other network, and vice versa, and it can be 3-way or 10-way or whatever you want, really. And it basically does all the magic of what you take for granted with NDI, which is that you can see a source, pick it, and you get a video stream. That's the beauty of NDI. That's why so many people are using it. But it's only with NDI, it's only on the local area network. So this extends that so that you're on a much bigger enterprise of multiple different offices in different cities or different continents. And they have the same luxury of, if you see a camera in the studio in New York and you're in London, you can pick that camera and it can come into your switcher in London. It just makes the whole thing completely seamless, and it does it all invisibly with no effort for the user, more than just picking the source just as they would normally.
Yeah, no, that's very, very interesting. We have about 3 minutes till our 20-minute timer, so we've got some more time to kind of, and just forgive me for being kind of like the guy who doesn't know what's going on. Like, I don't get it. Like, say you've got a person in New York and a person in London, and aren't there services you can already buy just to...
So this is perfect. This is the perfect question, because this is something that we ask ourselves: is why do people need something different to do? Surely there's ways to do that already. And one of the obvious ways that people use right now is they use Skype. To do things like we're doing right now, we could be doing with Skype. And Skype does quite a good job, fairly low latency, reasonable quality, and so on and so forth. But if you wanted something like that was kind of like a permanent connection, but also you wanted to be able to control the quality, you want to be able to go up to full 1080, even 4K, whatever you want, and you want to maintain low latency. Let's say maybe you want multiple channels of audio, lots and lots of things that go beyond what you might use a Skype to Skype connection. If you had a couple of talks, for example, you could go Skype SDI to Skype SDI through Skype. I mean, it's kind of that idea, but it goes beyond that to more of a professional space. And then the whole cloud part is really the collaboration hub. So you can build networks of all your different locations. And the other thing which we've just announced is shared groups. So the idea of this is that if you've got, let's say you've got 50 different people, different companies in America, let's say, and they're all NDI users, TriCasters, vMixes, or whatever. They don't know one another necessarily right away. So they're the premium facilities in New York and Los Angeles. And let's say that they wanted to do a link up that they might have traditionally done with a satellite or something like that. So maybe they want to do an interview with a Hollywood movie star from a facility in New York. Well, what you're going to be able to do with the shared groups is that those two different companies are going to log into their accounts, and one of them is going to create a shared group and tell the other person, hey, join my shared group, just like you might do with a shared folder in Dropbox, or let's say you do a TeamViewer remote access and you give somebody an ID number. So they can basically join the group, and suddenly those two facilities temporarily are connected together so that the interviewer in New York can actually talk to the recipient, the talent in Hollywood or whatever, and do those kind of live link ups. Again, we're talking about full quality, so full 1080, controllable bandwidth. They might decide to use 15, 20 megabits, which is way, way more than you'd ever be able to do with Skype. And they got control over that. They've got this shared group mechanism where you can create these ad hoc connectivity between sites. It's a bit like they've been doing for years with audio over the ISDN network, where people used to create these kind of connected circuits between.
Not sure what's going on, but your audio is starting to get a little funky. I don't know if you want to unplug and replug or do something. And at the end of our show, stick around for the Q&A, obviously. We'll put a link below if you're watching this later on. And thank you, Mark. We will go on to the Q&A.
You're welcome.